Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. Hundreds of Rotorua residents volunteer to help clean up oil spill. By-election candidate Brett Marvelly says growth is the pressing issue facing Rotorua. And a big weekend at the Rugby World Cup fan zones. Those stories and more up next tonight on City News. Hundreds of Rotorua residents have put their hands up and have offered to help in the massive oil spill clean-up that is underway on Mount Maunganui and surrounding beaches. The beach clean-up is expected to take several months and is now a well-organised effort. Volunteers are advised to phone 0800 654 7740 and leave their name. And Green Party co-leader Russell Norman, who has been on the scene, says volunteers should brace themselves when they see the damage to wildlife and destruction to the environment.
It is incredibly distressing because, I've been down there and just all the dead birds is actually really upsetting. We will get through it. We will get through to the other side of this, but it's going to take a while. And, people of the Bay are going to need a bit of support from the rest of the country to get through this.
That number again, if you would like to volunteer, 0800 oil spill or 0800 654 7740. Meanwhile, Te Roro Flavel is asking for those in his Waiariki constituency to direct their efforts towards supporting whānau living on Motiti Island by donating kai and supporting clean-up efforts by donating equipment. Mr Flavel says we need to support the 35 or so whānau that live on Motiti all year round, whose kapata kai is the moana that is now polluted. He says it's a huge concern for all of us, but this is something we can do now and do safely. Donations of food, bottled water, clean-up equipment and first aid can be left at Mr Flavel's electoral office at 1489 Eruera Street. Deliveries to Motiti Island will be made weekly. In other news, a 12-year-old girl remains in a serious but stable condition in Auckland's Middlemore Hospital after falling into a mud pool on Frode Street. Whakarewarewa yesterday afternoon. Ambulance North Comms team manager Keith Hall said the girl was treated at Rotorua Hospital for third-degree burns to 40% of her body before being transported to Auckland. A Middlemore Hospital spokesman says the young girl is being closely monitored. Rotorua District Council by-election candidate Brett Marvelly says growth is the most pressing issue facing the city. Mr Marvelly says growth will lead to employment and employment leads to less social problems. He says Rotorua is his home and truly believes he can make a difference.
I think we haven't grown with the economy the way things are going, and other areas have sort of grown around us. I believe stats tell us that Rotorua hasn't grown for 40 years, and that's a terrible indictment of our city leaders. And I think there's ways of doing that, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to address those issues. We're very good at picking people up at the bottom of the cliff, but we're not too good at creating things at the top, and I suppose that's what I bring. I bring a business knowledge, also hard-working, but a passion for Rotorua. Remember, our family's invested a lot in Rotorua, and that's where I see probably where I come from.
We have the full interview with Brett Marvelly in tonight's City News. The annual Second Hand Sunday is on this weekend. Second Hand Sunday is another Keep Rotorua Beautiful initiative which allows people to give away reusable items they no longer want. Residents who have registered to take part will place any unwanted treasure on the curbside outside of their home by 8:30 Sunday morning. Anybody who wants to go on a treasure hunt is advised to check tomorrow evening's paper for participating locations. Residents must remember to ensure that any leftover items must be taken off the street again. In sport tonight, another big weekend of rugby as Wales take on France and the All Blacks clash against Australia in the semi-finals of the Rugby World Cup. Rotorua District Council Rugby World Cup coordinator Renee Nathan says this weekend's fan zone at the Energy Event Centre are going to be huge. Renee Nathan says there will be plenty of prizes and entertainment at the family-friendly event. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. for both semi-finals. A look now to your weekend weather. Rotorua tonight, brief showers, westerlies, overnight a low of 8. Tomorrow Saturday, mainly fine, westerly winds, a high of 19 and low of 6. Outlook for Sunday, a few showers, westerly turns northerly later, a high of 14 and low of 5. Marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Saturday, westerly 15 knots, waves up to half a metre, fair visibility and a few showers. If you've missed any of tonight's bulletin, you can watch it again by going to tvrotorua.co.nz and click on the View Latest City News link. Or to view what's on in our city, click on the Upcoming Events link. Coming up after the break, Ashley talks with Sam Burgess and Eric Zhang about relocating their band to Rotorua. Amanda has what's on and more from Brett Marvelly on running in the by-election.